Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Curie, Jeremiah Jensen. He's JJ, I'm Alex. JJ, what's up, man? Good to see you in your civvies.
Oh, yeah. No suit today. I can relax a little bit.
Good for you.
Yeah, I got my Diet Mountain Dew. I got some shorts on. I'm at RGS Exteriors. We're not in the studio.
Yeah.
It's good.
I thought the tank.
Good.
I thought the tank top was a bit much, but you know,
no.
it's fine.
Don't give A, not true. B, don't give people that visual.
I just wanted people to
don't
imagine.
do that to the
I wanted
listeners.
people to imagine with you with some of those pit vipers on and a
Who do you think I am?
who do you think you are? I am. Listen, we've got a lot to talk about today. A lot to talk about. Tons to jump into on a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday right here. By the way, I like summer and everything. Could we settle down with the ninth?
Not for 1 second are you going to complain about the weather outside.
Absolutely, I will.
Because in 3
I've
weeks,
already
when
married
it's 35
myself.
degrees.
No. I'm ready to wear snow pants right now, okay? I want cold all the time. As a chubby guy, I want the cold weather at all times. So when I see this kind of stuff and I see the 90 degrees, it's fine. It's fine golf weather. It's good golf weather. How about that?
For sure is.
So enjoy the last few days of beautiful, although it's going to last for a little while. Anyway, I've turned into a I've turned into a full-on old man talking about the weather.
As a newsie here, as somebody that works in TV news, I can give you the 10-day, and it's really, really nice.
It's going to be
10
warm.
days.
Okay.
So enjoy it, Utah.
Love it. All right. We've got tons to get into. We are at RGS Exteriors here in West Jordan. And I'll tell you right now, we've got tons to talk about with Tim as well. So Tim's going to jump on. We're going to chat about a bunch of things that they're doing, the ways to improve the outside of your house. It just improves the not just the quality of your house, but also the value of it. I mean, my goodness, we're going to save some people some money today, and we're going to help them make their house look a little bit better, and Tim's going to help them do it. All right, here's what we're going to do. Our program is brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar perfect for anybody who needs a quick, tasty, and nutritious boost. Let's jump in here. We've got tons to talk about on the program. Let's get right to it. It's The Cut, top of the hour.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And this portion of the show brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth.com. That's TrajanWealth.com for all your local trusted financial needs. JJ, another weird twist. I did not, when my phone started, oh boy, stop it with Travis Kelce. I always think maybe he'll hit the note. If this time we play it, then maybe he'll hit the note. This time
Has
he
he
never
been
does.
getting lessons from his
No, he has
significant
not.
other?
No, he has not.
He
That's why he struggles. My phone started to blow up, and I'm seeing UNLV like through my bleary-eyed, notifications. And guess what my brain did? Oh man, something's going on with conference realignment. Not even close. In one of the more weird twists of college football, and again, something that we shouldn't be surprised by anymore. I'm not surprised by any college football news. I'm not surprised by transfer portal, NIL. None of it now is a shock. And so to see Matthew Sluka, who's the quarterback for UNLV, well, not the quarterback for UNLV anymore, he's going to pack it up, and he has officially been scrubbed from all of their rosters now online. He's officially been I thought this was maybe just a play to say, hey, I'm thinking about it. Nope. He has officially said this isn't happening. Apparently, according to him, through his statement, I committed to UNLV based on certain representations that were made to me. Representations, of course, meaning some guarantees, some verbal guarantees at least, that were made to him, according to some from the coaching staff. Despite discussions, it became clear these commitments would not be fulfilled in the future. I wish my teammates the best of luck this season and hope for continued success of the program. Mic drop, withdrawals from school, and UNLV is back to being irrelevant again.
Are they?
I don't know.
It's one player. Well,
it's the freaking quarterback.
Relevant. Wait a minute. Okay, we'll dig into this.
Okay.
But let me say this.
Okay.
I'm angry that this Pac-12 Mountain West thing plus this Sluka story is forcing us to talk about UNLV football, which I don't care about.
Of course.
Okay? Now, as far as relevancy goes with UNLV, they're winning this year. And, yes, they have made themselves relevant in the college football playoff conversation because there is a new 12-team playoff. And if you're looking at the group of 5, the Mountain West between Boise State and UNLV, whoever wins that is likely going to get that spot.
Right.
Which makes this story even more interesting because this is a team that's playing for something significant this year. This isn't the UNLV of old.
Right, I was going to say
this
they never
is a
play.
UNLV team that is good. I'll give them that.
They never play for anything.
Okay? When have they ever played for anything?
On the football level, never.
Right. So suddenly we're thrust into having to talk to them. But this is bigger than UNLV. This is an issue that really sheds light on the problem that college football has now in this new era of NIL. Is situations like this, and we saw it with Jaden Rashada at Florida. Right? The problem was Jaden Rashada wasn't playing yet. This is a player that's played 4 games for a team that's about to crack the top 25. Mm-hmm. They're that good. And all of a sudden he's going to walk away and say, I'm going to save my red shirt year. I'm not going to play that 5th game because you didn't do what you said you were going to do. It wasn't a written contract. It's not even an agreement with the NIL collective. It was an assistant coach saying, we'll get you $100,000. A verbal. That's it. So this is a big problem in college football because how do you deal with this? How do you manage this? It's tricky because there are no, air quotes right now, guardrails. There are no guardrails in this new world of NIL because the NCAA is actually not going to handle this at all.
Right.
They don't want to deal with this. That's what the NIL collective is for. Of course, the court cases that have come up in the last year are going to force payment to these players. A collective bargaining agreement could be on the way, some kind of contract that takes place, but the NCAA doesn't want to deal with those things. So right now, the solution to the problem would be having written contracts and having collective bargaining so it's determined how much money these players can actually get from these schools. But the NCAA is not going to deal with anything with that. So who is?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you.
What's the solution to this problem?
Yeah, it's tough because the reality is there's no version of being able to pay for play, right? You can't say, hey, if you score 10 touchdowns this year, we're going to give you $1,000. Right?
There is currently no pay to play through the NCAA through the schools. It's all NIL collective, which is name, image, and likeness.
Right,
so
but they can't. And
somebody
so
outside
even then,
the program can funnel that money in.
Right, but they have to just pay the guy because they're there at the program. And that's the idea is you're just getting me for me. You're not getting me for – I mean, ask Utah fans right now if the return on investment for Cam Rising has worked out over the last 17 games for them. He's played 4 quarters in 17 games. Now, that's injury stuff. That's not whether – no one's questioning at all whether or not Cam Rising is committed to this program. It just has been an unfortunate experience because he hasn't been playing because of injuries, a multitude of them now at this point. And the school can't say, well, we're not – or, whomever, all these different donors can't come up and go, well, we're not paying you. You haven't played any games. Because that is like, of all the things that the NCAA still has their hand in, there's no version of being able to pay somebody for having played. You're just paying them for, the Cam Rising name, image, likeness. And in this case, and by the way, it's just another thing that if you were to go back into in time, even 8 years ago and say, hey, read this story from 2024. Read this story about Matthew Sluka. And people are like, wait, what's going on? Because the first thing starts off with, according to Sluka's agent. And you're like, what? As an agent? Excuse you?
Right.
So then even his dad, Bob Sluka, says, yeah, the head coach, Barry Odom, said, no, we can't. We're not gonna fulfill that part of the contract because I didn't make that guarantee. An offensive coordinator of mine did. Which, again, if you're a team – it is so hard. If you're a head coach and you're kind of scraping here's what's tough for Barry Odom. People don't even know who the head coach of UNLV is until they read this story, right?
Which goes back to my point earlier about the relevance of UNLV football.
And so
we should not care about UNLV.
Of course.
Yet here we are. They're the hottest name and topic in college football this week. It's bizarre.
Well, and so fill in the blank, because if you think this isn't going to happen at your school, then you're dead wrong. This is the kind of stuff that happens behind closed doors. Players feel like they're being slighted. Players feeling like they should be able to get X amount of dollars and not getting it and leaving. players who may be told by a sponsor, and BYU fans are pretty aware of this, but there have been some sponsorships that have not necessarily totally been fulfilled. And guess what? That leaves a massive sour taste in the mouth of the athletics program, of the players, of all the people who are told maybe there could be some money here and there. And so when now, because this is all talk around that surrounds $100,000 or so in an offer, which is absolute pennies compared to what he's probably going to be getting in the future, which is he's shown that he is a decent quarterback, and guess who comes calling? Anybody who's got some money anywhere near that $100,000, heck, double it, make it 2. That is nothing for a quarterback to come in. I was telling you about how Mississippi State is in a bad spot. They don't have a good quarterback. And they're in the SEC. They're playing Texas this weekend. They're going to lose by 50. And you know what? They're going to look around, and their donors who have all the money on the planet, and they're trying to figure out, and an NIL that is probably one of the lower ones in the SEC, and that still is probably into the 7 figures, right, for the team. Maybe even 8. And so they're able to make an offer and say, hey, we'll give you $500,000 to come here and be our quarterback. Are you kidding?
We'll get that $100,000 for you and a few
plus more. And you know what? He's smart to do it. And UNLV and Barry Odom should be pissed at Brennan Marion, who's the alleged offerer in the ear of Matthew Sluka. I don't know where Matthew Sluka has played in his career. What is his
Holy Cross?
Okay. So he comes from Holy Cross, and he's
FCS.
highly touted, right? I mean, think about it in terms of like a Cam Ward type situation. Cam Ward, incarnate word.
Yep.
Goes to Washington State, and now is probably making in the $3 or $4 million NIL range down at Miami.
Probably top 3 in the Heisman conversation.
And he's freaking good, right?
Yep, exactly.
And so these guys are in it to make some money, and we should be okay with it. We're supposed to be okay with it. In fact, it's the new version of what college football is. And it's not Matthew Sluka being a selfish 21-year-old. That's not the case. This is the school screwing it up. This is the adults in the room messing it up for their program. And if you're Barry Odom, you should be absolutely pissed at your offensive coordinator. And you know what? This is we get what we pay for. And in this case, what you didn't pay for. And that is now a heap of embarrassment. And nobody thinks to themselves, well, this kid, I can't believe. I mean, there are people who might think, oh, why are they getting paid that much money to play college football anyway? Because we've determined that this business is run by these kids.
Well,
and we're paying them for it.
Why should they get paid for it? Because 30, 40, 50, 60,000 people are buying tickets to watch them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If you're a performer, if you're a musician, and 50,000 people want to watch you, shouldn't you get paid for that?
Of course.
So why would we say, oh, these college football players shouldn't get paid? They should just be happy that they got their room and board.
Oh,
like we're past that, right?
That's the old version of the way we used to think.
This is a big business. College football's a big business. And if you're reading this story and blaming Sluka, like, he's just protecting his own interest. Everybody out there listening right now, okay? You have a job and you have a verbal agreement with an employer that they're going to pay you $100,000 a year. And you will start working for them, and after 3 or 4 months, the checks aren't coming. And you're going, what's going on? I want to get paid. And they're like, actually, you know what? We can only pay you $3,000 a month.
Right, which is what apparently the offer was.
Wait a minute.
And on top of that, he's only gotten one $3,000 check from the school. So the formal agreement from the school, according to his agent, was $3,000 a month for 4 months. Okay, $12,000 is a lot different than $100,000. Okay, would you go work at a place for $12,000 after they told you in your first meeting when they offered the job $100,000? Of course not.
You'd be furious. You'd quit, and you'd go get another job.
Right.
So don't be mad at Sluka.
But no, not just that. You would flame them on the way out, too. You'd
100%.
say, look what we did. Look what they did over here.
They're crooks. They lied to me.
Right.
They did. They deceived him.
Hey, UNLV, I don't think you have $17 million to go to the Pac-12 if you can't give $100,000.
Barry Odom should fire the assistant coach that did that.
That's a bad deal.
Because it's not fair to. So I feel bad for the players in the locker room, and I think they're probably the biggest victims in this.
Yeah.
I mean, UNLV fans, all 10 of them, are probably upset. I get that, but the people that should be upset about the situation are the football players in that locker room, whose team is 4-0 right now, that has a chance to do something big that you normally don't get to do at UNLV, and your starting quarterback just walked away because of a lie, because of a situation that should have never happened. That should have been transparent. That should have been all the coaches should have known about it. How that happened, that's what they have to deal with internally. They screwed this up. The kid's doing what any of us would have done if somebody pulled a bait and switch like that.
Oh, yeah.
Every
Awful.
one of you can't be a hypocrite and say that kid should just go back there and play for the $3,000. We would all be upset. We would all quit a job if we were promised $100,000 and they paid us $3,000.
Right. Right,
Tim?
Well, I'll tell you what. The other thing is that, boy, what a tough lesson for a kid to be told this is how the adult world works. That if it's not in writing, they will hose you, right?
That's why contracts exist,
and that's why you've got to be able to sit down.
And by the way, protect yourself legally. He has an agent. Why didn't his agent protect?
The agent goes, "That's awesome."
Sluka should fire his agent. His agent didn't do his job.
Hey, I love that they told you that amount of money. That's great. Could we make them sign something?
Yeah, before you commit.
Let's get it going here. Let's figure out. Because if you're UNLV, where's $100,000 coming from for your head coach? If you don't have the funding,
well,
then there's
the
no
only place it could have came from was the NIL collective, and the collective had no idea about
I bet
this.
the collective didn't even have any money either. I mean, again, the relevancy talk is apt, right? Because
it's UNLV.
It's UNLV, and they had no business being able to get this quarterback at their place. He starts winning games, and he's all, that's great. Anyway, so where's that check at? Because it looks like we're on the verge of being ranked this week, and you still haven't upheld your side. Well, let's figure that out at the end of the season.
How much money would UNLV make if they made the college football playoff?
Oh, I'm not sure.
We don't know the number.
I'm
but
not
it would
sure
be
what the number is.
Astronomical.
But again, every one of these games,
it would be program changing for them.
Yeah, of course. All these college football playoff games come with a chunk of money attached to go to the conferences, right? To each conference and they have to share it with those teams. $2 million per game, or what?
Just for
per school,
right?
Per school.
Per school. So
also, it should be noted
school,
this kid said he turned in offers of like 3 to 5 times this amount. So if he's getting offered $400K, $300K, and he gets nothing now, ooh.
I mean,
I understand why he's upset.
It was Ike Larson who said he would turn down $500,000 right up at Utah State to be able to stay there.
He did.
This money's real, and so when it doesn't actually apparate in the moment when you're sitting there and you're making all of these different when you're making all these throws and you're in there with your teammates, and I'm sure there are teammates in that locker room, there are 100 kids in there, and there are 100 different opinions on it. I bet a bunch of the kids who are the
feel betrayed.
They feel betrayed by him, but I think a lot of them actually look. They know the score now. It's college football 2024. They all want a piece. They all want to be able to get to that point where they can get an offer. Yeah. How many of these schools are leaning into the idea of, hey, man, come play here and we'll get you an offer in the Big Ten somewhere? Like, there are coaches leaning into that being their business model. Come here, get big, we'll get you paid.
To the Big Ten.
We'll get you paid in the SEC.
Wasn't the MAC, which coach in the MAC? It was Toledo or somebody.
But it was in basketball, right? It was in basketball.
Yeah. Come here, we'll get you to the Big Ten.
Come here, we'll get you to the Big Ten, and we'll get you paid. If you're the Big Ten, if you're on a roster of the Big Ten, you're going to be getting mid-six figures.
Look at BYU and Weber State. How many players from Weber State are going on to BYU? Where would the Cougars be right now without Jack Kelly? Like, the FCS has become Weber State's the new Rick's College for BYU. That's how the system is now. The FCS is feeding, even the Group of Five is feeding the Power 5 schools, Power 4 schools.
All right.
It's a new world we live in. This is the latest twist.
Your home for the best college football coverage in Utah is on the KSL Sports Zone. Ready? It's the first Big 12 home battle for the Utes as they return to the Hill for a battle against Arizona. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Happy Wednesday to you. I had to remember that it was Wednesday in my head. We're at RGS Exteriors here in West Jordan, and we're going to take care of you. Tim Brown's going to take care of the outside of your home. Make sure it's all buttoned up for the winter. Those gutters are in shape. Everything's in shape. You've heard the ads. And now we're going to get you some great deals coming up here in just a couple minutes here. In the meantime, you can nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Guess what? Tomorrow is going to be the day we roll out another winner, JJ. Love doing this. Submit that nomination, KSLSports.com/contest. Every Thursday, we give you a winner, and we celebrate the efforts of the youth sports volunteers in your neighborhood. Somebody who's doing a phenomenal job. Doesn't have to be anybody who's on the city payroll or anything. Maybe it's that mom who made those special bags for all the kids all year long. My kids on the Davis golf team, these parents roll out. I mean, these kids are basically the snack bags they get at their tournaments. I'm always like, somebody else loves my kid more than I do. What is going on?
That's true. There's too many good people working in youth athletics on a volunteer basis that need some love and recognition. So please, if you're listening, it could be the team mom on your kid's football team or a coach whatever it is. Like,
sure,
let's get these people recognized. It could be an official that's reffing games. It doesn't matter. Like, get them some recognition that they deserve. We have so many great people in this community that are doing so many great things on a volunteer basis.
KSLSports.com/contest. We'll honor them on the air, but they'll also get a prize, a gift card from Hercules Credit Union, and also a $200 credit to Beehive Meals, both of which are sponsors of the program of the Hercules Hero of the Week. All right. I don't want to listen, JJ, this whole hockey thing has just been absolutely draining on us. And I don't know if we could handle a Major League Baseball team. I don't know if we could do this over again. Fine. I guess we'll take your team, Arizona.
Hey,
if you guys
Arizona,
can't take
we're
care of
sorry. We just took your hockey team. Can you give us your baseball team, too?
Okay.
Please and thank you.
Could you imagine? Okay. Let me give you the tale of two different cities, okay? You've got the Texas Rangers, who were the World Series champions, last year?
Yes.
Did they already win last year?
Yeah.
But again, that's a team that I grew up watching as a kid. They were just awful. But you know what they
were
had?
Always irrelevant, except for Nolan Ryan.
But of course. But you know what they had? They had a community who just always showed up. They sold out games. I mean, they built so they had the ballpark at Arlington that was built brand new, and 10 years later, it became irrelevant already. They made it, and then they built Globe Life Field right next to it.
Right. And it's the weirdest thing.
Right. You've been across from Jerry World are two massive baseball stadiums, one of which was built to be the Rangers Stadium ballpark at Arlington. It's now the is it the Major League Lacrosse team and the rugby team that's down there? They have a rugby team there, and it's now like the fill in the blank casino stadium, and it's right next to Globe Life Field where the Rangers now play. And it's because there is support. The community is all over it. They love that team. That team will never go anywhere. And whether or not they're winning or not, the folks show up and the ownership actually takes care of it. The lease at Chase Field down in Phoenix is going to end in 2027. Okay? So about whether or not what they're going to do with the team, if they're not careful, talks aren't, I guess, going very well right now. And the Diamondbacks are trying to figure out how to stay there. And the cities like this doing a lot of things what a lot of politicians are doing right now, which is, hey, we actually can't foot this bill for you. We can't do this for you. We are on the hook for everything else right now in this community. And the Arizona Diamondbacks, I just don't know. We don't know what the future looks like, but you have a willing city about a 10-hour drive north of you in Salt Lake that's willing to take that baseball team for you. Now, again, this just shows you how messy things can get. If you don't manage your team perfectly well, if you don't have the backing of the community totally, even if the community loves the team, if the numbers don't add up, you can lose your team. Ask the Supersonics. Ask how that whole Key Arena thing went down. Asking a community who had just built a football stadium and a baseball stadium, if the local community could say, oh, by the way, just go ahead and do a revamp of Key Arena too. And they're like, we can't. And then, boom, new ownership, boom, team's gone. And it's going to hopefully come back again, and certainly that's what we're looking forward to. But they lost their team
for 2 decades.
If you can't babysit this thing right, you're going to lose it. And it's a good lesson to learn. Funds aren't unlimited, and cities don't always have. There's a lot of fatigue when it comes to these sports franchise fatigue is real. If you are not going to fund these stadiums, and if you're not, and the owners, if they're cheap enough, will absolutely walk away from this thing because they'll be forced to. And it's a weird process, but that's what we're looking at here. The Arizona Diamondbacks are in a weird place right now.
They essentially have a big mansion, and nothing inside of the mansion works right now, and they have to redo all the guts in the mansion, like HVAC and all this stuff, and it's going to cost them millions of dollars to renovate the inside of the stadium. Like, I'm not even sure that Chase Field would pass code right now.
Oh, boy.
If it had an inspection. That's the problem. That's going to cost them millions of dollars, and they don't have the money to pay for it. So what's the cheapest option here for Arizona if they can't get the help to do it? Well, for the owner, you know what the cheapest thing would be to do? Sell the team.
Right.
Let it become somebody else's problem, which would mean who's out there to buy it? Well, there's an ownership group right here in Utah and Big League Utah.
Oh,
and
they're
ready.
Here comes Electric Avenue.
Yeah, that's right. Bring them into the Power District.
Let's go.
We're ready. Shovel ready. Electric Avenue.
Now this one
in the Power District.
So
let's make it happen.
Whose turn is it to own the franchise? The Miller family, right?
It's their turn. They're ready to go.
Okay.
They're shovel ready. They can purchase this. We got a $900,000 yeah, maybe back in 1952.
We'll give you $900,000.
Yeah, we got a little.
We'll finance it.
Yeah, we're breaking the bank for you for a little. No, $900 million has been approved. That's already done. Like the politics of that is already done. If you're an owner of the Arizona, either you're looking to move or you're like, all right, we'll sell this out for $1 billion, and the problem is gone for us. People in the community might be upset with us, but we have no choice because we can't foot this bill. They can't fix the stadium on their own. It's a mess. So when you have a problem, it's just like if you have a real estate property and there's some problems and you can't fix it, well, you got to sell it to somebody who can. And that's the situation that they're in right now. That's the best analogy I can use to describe what the situation is that the Arizona Diamondbacks are in. They've got a broken down home that needs fixing, and they can't fix it, so they're going to have to sell it to somebody that can.
They got a broken down home. You got this homeless franchise walking around going, "Hey man, anything helps, man. Anything helps." They're standing over there in the corner.
Yeah, CEO Derek Hall's out there with a cup, playing a guitar. I'll play for cash.
Gail Miller comes by. The back window of the limo rolls down and goes, "Hop in, kid. We'll help you out."
Jeez.
Hey, we'll take care of it. Now, again, this is I don't know.
Yeah, what's the CEO say? What does Derek Hall say about the situation?
The CEO says that that Phoenix is basically they're focused on staying. By the way, Maricopa County is the exact place that had the problem with the back and forth with the hockey team.
Right.
So obviously they're not in the mood to bicker about a back and forth.
And they're not going to give in.
Right, and asking the county and asking the taxpayer for more funds, that's already failed at the hockey level, right? So apparently there was relocating a team to Vegas was the possibility of that, and obviously that's where the A's are going to end up. And I sent and by the way, we have some insane audio of because the A's have just fired up their last homestand at the Coliseum ever, and one of the anchors there in Oakland just on TV just absolutely flamed the owner, and a lot of times these owners, look, I think Donald Sterling of the Clippers back in the day, this was a guy who wasn't interested in anything except for making money for himself, and what you get now when that happens, if you don't spend money. These are your return on investment as an owner of a franchise is ridiculous, okay? And I get it, but if you're a billionaire and you own a team, you better spend billions on it too because you're making billions on it.
Yep.
And if you don't, ask some of these owners. Ask Alex Morello how that went, not babysitting a team well enough.
He wouldn't even give his team pizza during overtime.
You get absolutely, and by the way, now
this is what you get.
By the way, now all that stuff is they do these surveys and it's like anonymous with the players. Hey, how's this team? And everyone's like, it's crap.
Yeah,
it's a bad ownership.
Yeah,
they will absolutely kill you. And the Chiefs are winning Super Bowls and consistently have Fs on their.
When Andy Reid leaves, it's going to go right back to the crap hole it used to be. Trust me. No one's going to want to play there. No one's going to want to be there. They're not going to win. And then all of a sudden you realize just how bad that organization is.
Spoken like a true Broncos fan.
Before we get out, are we going to listen to that quote?
Oh,
or you
yeah,
want me
sorry.
to read the quote?
No, I want to.
Because I want to hear from the CEO.
Here's what Derek Hall had to say about it. Yeah, I know you were setting me up for that, and I didn't know if we had time enough for it. But here we go. Derek Hall and how this could go, and I don't know. Start sniffing around Utah, and if this sounds like something we could do, see if we can pounce on this attitude of Derek Hall.
I mean, I don't see a deal in sight. And I've now had fans say, wow, I understand why you don't have a deal. I've had fans write me and say, you should never do that deal. Well, of course, and we're not. And unfortunately, I don't see a deal now with the county, with this, at least with this current board composition. I mean, it's just impossible. So we'll continue to work with the state and city and see if there's a way to bail them out with their problems of their building.
Here's another quote. He said, it woke a lot of people up and showed just how easily a team could be lured away. And he's referring to the $900 million that Utah got approved. I can never see us leaving the area, but if there is a market out there that is very aggressive, you never know what extent they'll go to acquire a team.
No. We do know. We do know the extent.
And we're ready.
Because we just watched it.
We're shovel ready.
We just watched it.
Yes.
They're ready to build a stadium tomorrow.
Yep.
And that's without even like a horizon of a possibility of like that's what them waiting on expansion, not anything else.
LHM Company can solve this problem tomorrow.
Tomorrow, absolutely. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go. We'll chat with Tim Brown from RGS Exteriors coming up just right around the corner. We've got a Would You Rather, a Wednesday edition of it. So stay right here. More to go. 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
Come back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. Alex Curie, Jeremiah Jensen. Tim Brown's here with us. I'm going to turn Tim on here, and we're going to jump in. We got a couple things going on. So Would You Rather goes like this. We give you a scenario. You give us what you would rather have happen. By the way, you can win lunch every Tuesday from the KSL Sports Zone thanks to the folks at Cafe Rio and Taco Tuesdays at Cafe Rio. Every Tuesday, your chance to win $20 and a Cafe Rio gift card. You learn about it, Taco Tuesday. And listen, I'm just telling you, just go to the website and start reading off the that's a weird thing that I do now in my 40s, reading ingredients offline from my wife. Okay, you got pico? You want the pico? Okay. Do you want extra cheese? These are the kind of things that I do. These are the things that I do in my life.
Getting old sucks.
It's the best. Are you kidding? Because now I can afford Taco Tuesdays.
Well, yeah.
You can afford tacos every day now.
I know. And you know what? I would.
We're old enough to afford them, but we can't eat them.
I'm trying not to eat them all.
You know what?
You're going to get chubby again, all right? Don't want to do it.
Trying not to.
Would you rather give your hard-earned cash to fund that favorite college NIL or fund a pro stadium that you love and for a team you love? Oh, that's a great question. So you throw money at the NIL collective, maybe get that kid, I don't know, just as a hypothetical out of UNLV who might be a decent quarterback. Hey, BYU. Hey, no, listen. Why not?
They got their guy. Jake's their guy.
Sure.
Jake's got one more year.
All right, fine. Which one would you rather do? They say you can pay the taxes to get a pro team here?
I'm pro team. I mean, I'd do neither because I'm cheap. But
as a sports guy, in the market.
I'm pro sports guy. I want my pro sports here. I want pro baseball here. So I'm going with the stadium.
Oh my goodness, I am too. Listen, all of it just points to us being a market that is growing. It's getting bigger. We're getting more successful. We're getting more populated. We are absolutely just like churning here, and we are dying to fill the seats in stadiums, man, that haven't even been built yet, and we're ready to fill. We're ready to put butts in the seats. I'm ready to get a menu put together at one of these fake stadiums. I'm already ready because I know how amazing it's going to be. I remember when I was a kid, Safeco got built up in Seattle, and they're like garlic fries and salmon bites, and I was like, what? I was like, you got to be kidding me.
You're going to pay $300 in seats to get salmon bites?
Did you guys see the
salmon
we had a company meeting today, and during our company meeting, we announced to the guys that we always get season tickets for the Jazz, but we did the hockey this year too. And
oh, wow.
You know, we spoiled them a little. They got the Toyota Club hockey seats, so they were all stoked. Ooh. Well, anyway, one of our main managers went to the preseason game. Well, last night or 2 nights ago.
Yeah,
did you guys see the crowd?
Oh, yeah, we were outside the stadium.
Unbelievable.
It was crazy.
A sellout crowd for a preseason game. So to your point, We're
dying.
craving.
We're dying.
craving.
And we aren't. And people who are hockey fans for life, they've already been. They're the ones showing up to games, and then there are people who are like, I'm ready to be a hockey fan now. I'm ready to have a Major League Baseball team now. Like, I'm ready to change allegiances now. We're ready for it. So.
When have we ever sold out? When has a preseason NHL game ever been sold out before?
I think we have those, like, when we do the Frozen Fury.
It never sold out.
It never sold out.
No.
And people were like, that's exciting. Hockey's here. But part of it was a little bit of a spit in the face of, like, it's like when we just had this preseason game in Des Moines. Hey, you Iowans. Hope you enjoy us coming through town. Isn't that a fun thing
and
for
we
us to
can't
come
wait
through?
to get the heck
and
out.
We're not bringing our best players, but we hope you enjoy the hockey today.
Yeah, the point, like, he showed a video today in the company, just to show and to see the hype and the crowd.
It's insane.
For a preseason game.
I love
this
it.
is preseason.
I love it.
And
So
the
it
players
tells you.
delivered, gave them an overtime win, and people are going to be even more hungry. It's a good team.
Tim Brown, RGS Exteriors is where we're at today. And, Tim, I just sent you the pictures of the broken downspout at my house that was, frankly, just blown straight off the house. That happens. I didn't even know that was an option. I didn't even know that was a thing. But it disappeared. We didn't even know where it went. It blew off into somebody else's yard. They probably threw it away a couple weeks ago. But
It went through somebody's car window, bro, and you broke it. It's your fault.
I don't know.
You're liable for that.
Find me. Come find me, and I will. I want the downspout back. I'll happily pay it.
Yeah,
okay,
it
so
happens, but
I
it
sent
is-
you the pictures, and you're like, look, we can take care of it. But it's that small stuff. It's the big stuff. And right now, what are people calling about right now to get done and buttoned up before winter?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So the first thing that we talked last segment, the first thing is their gutters, to get their gutters ready for winter. Whether it's the gutter cover so they never have to clean their gutters again, whether it's new gutters so they're not leaking, or just fixing gutter, like you said, a downspout. Whether it's looking at the heat tape because, oh man, I had ice on my steps, I don't want that this year. Or it's going to, hey, we're ready to do this exterior project. Even though rates are coming down, they're still not going to be the 3% again. I'm ready for my full exterior. Let's just get the siding done. Let's get it done and make our home look new.
I think everybody listening's had a bad experience with the contractors. Like, I had a situation in my house where the plumbing wasn't good, and the pipe came unattached to the bathtub in the kids' room, and it flooded our basement.
Okay.
And we were furious, and there's nothing we could do. But the thing that's great about you guys is if they go through you do the work, you guarantee the work, and then if there's any problem, you take care of it.
Yeah, I think I talk to customers a lot. There's a major difference between a good and a great company. And I think that what really distinguishes the good from the great is what happens when there's a mistake. Because I can't tell you in good faith that we don't have mistakes, because 100% we do. We probably have them daily.
Right.
Something happens.
Yep.
But what you do when that mistake happens is all the difference in the world. You call us, we're going to own it. We're not going to blame somebody else. That's the beauty about us doing full exteriors, right? When we take the entire exterior project on, there's no pointing fingers, because we can't say, oh, that was the siding. Hey, that was the window guy. Hey, that was the gutter. No, we're all of them. So it's us. But beyond that, just taking care of the homeowners and doing right by them is what we stand by.
I think it was you the other day who was maybe talking to Hanson Scotty about, like, the person who will go, no, that wasn't us, and they'll make you call the other company, and then they're calling somebody else, and then there's the guy who did the work that they're trying to run down now, and
they're chasing the tail.
Right, you can't do it, and part of it is that's how they go. Oh, that's why we couldn't get a hold of them, and it's like perfect for them,
they
because
know
they don't have to own it.
They know that, right? And that's unfortunately my industry, the used car industry, and the contractors were kind of two peas in a pod, generally speaking. And so, what we want to do is just make that customer experience. First of all, when you call, you're going to notice a difference. We're actually answering the phone. You're going to have somebody that's
You're
friendly.
here.
We're here.
Right.
And it's not a call center in India,
Farmed
right?
out,
It's here. Someone's answering the phone. And then the next thing is you're going to get a salesman that's going to come out who's not high pressure. He's just going to see what your needs are, assess them, and then it goes through production. And then it's just the whole process. And it's just really the number one cause of divorces in the country, they say, is remodels and new homes. Right? I don't know if that's really true, if that's just hearsay, but we'll go with it.
Sure.
We want to take that away.
You guys
want
are-
to make it calm and easy.
You guys are the best marriage counselors on
So
the
we're
planet.
therapists too.
Yeah.
Look, man, we're gutter guys. We're siding
go.
guys. and we're
RGS
therapists.
Exteriors, saving marriages for decades.
Love it. Love
4
it.
generations of saving marriages and saving the outside of your home. All right, 801. It's 280-3110. You've heard the number for a lot of years, but maybe today's the day you actually have to use it. 801-280-3110. You get a hold of RGS Exteriors, and they're going to take care of you. Tim and his team, they've been doing this for, like you said, decades, generations. 801-280-3110. Thanks, Tim. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Chat with you in a few
Appreciate
minutes. We'll come back. More to go right around the corner. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Covering the Utes better than anyone else. This is Ute Insider Steve Bartle of KSLSports.com on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, it's another hour of the program. You know what that means? Our program brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar perfect for anybody who needs a quick, tasty, nutritious boost. We're at RGS Exteriors today in West Jordan. Beautiful day, by the way. We are just tickled with all this. But I'm not going to be real excited about jumping into my car at the end of this because it's like 95 degrees out, and then we're going back to the old August situation. I'm going to have that sweaty back.
Enjoy it while you can.
Fine. Joining us on the program right now, as usual, he is Steve Bartle. He's our Utes insider for KSLSports.com. Let's jump in. It's the top of the hour, and we get into it with The Cut.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And this portion of the show is always brought to you by the folks at Kia, Subaru, Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram as part of the Doug Smith dealerships in American Fork and Spanish Fork. If it's got Fork in the name, it's got a Doug Smith dealership, and they're going to take care of you. Great service starts with know-how, and nobody knows like Doug. And nobody knows the Utes like Steve Bartle, our Ute insider for KSLSports.com. What's going on, Steve? How's everything, man?
I'm good. How are you fellas doing?
Oh, it's phenomenal weather outside. I'm surprised you're not on the golf course right now, or are you?
Oh, man, how I wish I was now that you bring it up. So thanks a lot, Alex.
We got to sneak in. We got to sneak in those last few days of nice weather before.
Steve, we all have to work and make a living.
No, it's fine.
We're all
I know. It's tough, man.
Hey, 4-0 Utes. What's crazy about 4-0 Utah is everybody has expected them to be 4-0. Everybody expects them to be 5, 6, 7-0. The amount of pressure that comes with being one of the best teams in the conference and the team who everybody looks at and thinks that they're going to win that thing, when they have that dominant win over Oklahoma State, and I know the score at the end didn't look like it on paper, but that was a wholly dominant performance by that defense. What goes on in a game like that where teams are just absolutely broken, and Oklahoma State by the half, they already knew they didn't even have it against Utah. They had no way to crack that code on that Morgan Scalley defense.
I mean, it just speaks to what's the right word? You know, it really just speaks to the capability of the entire defense, what they're capable of, and what this group, the potential that this group has. I think it was truly impressive to see, this group, considering how they performed against Utah State. And there's a lot of context to consider there with that performance and allowing a Bryson Barnes to throw for a couple of touchdowns, allowing a Rashul Faison to run for over 100 yards. Utah tried some new things schematically, and it didn't work out, and that allowed Utah State to get going. But I think what we've learned is that when Utah, when they've got a big task at hand, that they're ready to meet that challenge, right? And I think that's what we learned about this group and the defense in particular, that, Ollie Gordon, the reigning Doak Walker Award winner, Alan Bowman, who was, 30 yards shy of 1,000 yards through 3 games. The fact that you went into their home stadium and performed at the level that you did to limit them to season lows in both regards, in both phases of the offense, it just speaks to the potential of this group, because there's still a lot of things that they probably feel they could have done, that they can clean up and execute at an even higher level. So, it was a really encouraging sign that this defense played at the level that they did in week 4. And yet, it was still without Connor O'Toole. It was still without Karenni Reed. And, without Kenan Johnson for the season, you saw progress from a Scooby Davis and from a Cam Calhoun, where you went into a top 15 program's house and took control of the game from kickoff. And 55 minutes later, you let up on the gas and allowed them to score 2 points. But really, just an impressive performance, the sort of performance that caught the attention of national media all across the country, and really everybody taking note of Utah. And I think the message there is that hey, there's a lot more to this team than Cam Rising. There is a lot more to this team than Cam Rising. And, I think that was a big win for Utah.
You just mentioned Cam Rising. Let's get into that. It feels like, Steve, and I understand the frustration of a lot of fans, and it feels like we're on that roller coaster again with Cam Rising and his health and all this stuff. How should Utah handle this? And have you heard anything about his availability this week? And is there some building frustration maybe that maybe he should have gone even though he wasn't 100%?
Well, I think it's important to understand, right, that Cam is genuinely injured, and with an injury to your throwing hand, there's a lot of volatility there, right? Where if he grips it the wrong way or he throws it with a little too much force, potentially there's a chance to potentially re-injure that, right? And I think that's important to keep in mind. And I'm not saying that's what happened, but I just think we're talking about a guy's finger on his throwing hand and how important it is to be able to execute at a certain level, especially in a matchup like that, against a top 15 team like that. You want to have your ducks in a row. And with Cam, I think, they gave him some time off during the week last week to rest up before the game to hopefully get that finger to the point where, he could go out and perform on Saturday. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. He genuinely went through warm-ups. Watching him, he was throwing it, 35, 40, 45 yards. There wasn't a lot of zip on it. But he was making those throws, and I think he's close. But I think with the way that Utah performed overall as a team and the way that Isaac performed as a true freshman on the road, you feel much more confident about Utah's ability to weather the storm, without Cam at the helm. And in order for Utah to reach their absolute best this season, they need Cam Rising healthy. And I think that's the most important thing to keep in mind. Is as much frustration as there is in the week-to-week and the day-to-day even, the big picture here is that you don't reach your peak, you don't reach your ceiling without a fully healthy Cam. And so, I think it's just best for Utah fans, at this stage to just assume that Isaac is going to be the guy until we know that Cam is fully healthy and ready to go. Because again, just with that, with it being the finger on his throwing hand, right? The one the one thing that a quarterback needs most is his throwing hand. It's just there's so much volatility there. So I think, they probably want to make sure that finger and hand is 100% before he's back. So, I would just suggest to Utah fans to just anticipate Isaac Wilson until we see Cam take that first snap.
There you go. And I think that's part of the deal here, Steve, is people have seen enough from Isaac Wilson to believe in him, to trust him.
Yeah.
And I think he earned that trust, especially last week. So and I think that's the difference between this year and last year. Is last year, obviously, there was no trust with whoever was going to go out there. You had Bryson Barnes play a great game against USC, but he was really bad against Baylor and a couple of other games. So this year they have a quarterback they can trust at QB2. And what is it that if you're watching the development of Isaac Wilson? I covered him in high school. I saw his growth and development there. You're following him each and every day at practices and games. What have you seen with the growth of him? What's different about him from Southern Utah to now getting ready to play Arizona?
Man, I wish I was covering him every practice. I would love to be up at practice watching these guys.
Yeah, I bet you will. We all do. You know what I mean? Yes.
Yeah,
you're covering him as much as you can cover him.
Give us something, Utes. Come on.
It's been really an impressive progression from him from week one to week two. Obviously, there's context to consider there with that one with Baylor. Coming into a game, he wasn't anticipating to play because obviously you need Cam out there. You want Cam out there, and Cam gets injured, and all of a sudden he's thrust into action. And he took care of business and took care of the ball, and that was important. Just getting out of that game with the win. But we saw what he can be against Utah State with a full week of prep. and I think, that game, with the way that he played, with the level of execution he showed, in those second, third, and fourth quarters, I think that was a really big boost to the confidence that others around him have in him now. I think that was a big thing for everybody else, all the other players, the coaches, to see him go out and perform at the level that he did against Utah State. I think that was a real big boost, for the program, because you go back to the Baylor game, and Coach Whittingham talked about it, that Cam gets injured, and you can't allow it to deflate you, right? He talked about the offense kind of losing its focus, losing its energy and passion, and just allowing it to affect you. And I think with Isaac stepping into action the last 2 weeks, I think it's really instilled confidence, in him from others, and it's also translated to better play for Isaac, which has raised the confidence level of others in others. So, for Isaac to come in to this role and to this opportunity, and he's a tremendous talent. The young talent that he showed, he's made some impressive throws. He's made some less than perfect throws, things that he can correct, but he's still executing the offense and making good decisions, and I think that's really, really important. So, as we look ahead to this matchup with Arizona, what sort of step can he take now that he has the Utah State game and Oklahoma State game under his belt? I think could be really, really interesting to see, what sort of leap he could potentially make, assuming that Cam doesn't play. I think is going to be a big deal. But I think it's big for him to have the confidence of others and what that'll mean for him in his play.
Well, I think Utah fans should be excited because the experience that he's having to get. I know there are some people who are like, oh, man, they're going to burn that red shirt and all that. But it's like, could you get a better version of experiences your true freshman year where you're thrown in kind of into some hostile situations, not just kind of absolutely hostile situations. The Utah State game, at least he got all those reps during the week. And then this last week he was tested with hey, we don't know. We're going to give you half the reps, and you're going to have to figure it out from there. And so he's grown up kind of right before your eyes here, and he's the future. I said,
it's not fair, to be honest.
Well, on top of it, though, you can't
You're
help
asking a lot of that kid.
But you can't help but grow from it, right? I mean,
100%.
that's the part where I think it's good, is that he can't help but grow from it, and that's the guy who's going to inherit the program. So, I couldn't imagine something being, it's stressful for Utah fans, but they've won those games, and he's been the head of that. Now, on top of that, a guy who's been a big part of it is Mekhi Bernard. We're going to be able to have our weekly conversation with him coming up at 5 o'clock, and we've loved every week being able to chat with him because he keeps getting better every week, and he had his best performance maybe of his entire career last week in 182 yards on the ground at Oklahoma State in front of a crowd that was used to seeing their running back take over games. So what's been the impact of Mekhi and how important that role has been for him? And can we kind of just throw it all out the window and just say, hey, RB1 is Mekhi Bernard?
I think we're to that point with Mekhi. Look, man, he's the guy. This is his role. He's RB1. He's put in the work, and he's gone out there and just done it. It was fascinating to listen to Kyle Whittingham talk about Mekhi and talk about the limitations that they need to have on him and how he can't handle more than 20 carries. And then he looks at the numbers, like, how many did he have? Oh, he had 25. Oh, wow. Well, that's the max. That's the max sort of workload that he can handle. And I just think Mekhi has worked really hard this offseason to embrace this sort of role and to have him continue to go out and perform at the level that he has, and to surprise even his head coach at what he's doing, in terms of the workload and just his production, I think is really, really cool for him. It's a testament to the trust that coaches have in him, to go out there and know that he's going to execute whatever is called, whatever adjustment might be made, at the line of scrimmage. They know that they can rely on him and trust him to execute at a really high level. And now the fact that he's worked hard this offseason to put on weight, he got up to about 210 pounds. What you're seeing from him is the added strength the sort of boost that's given him, running the ball. You're watching him break tackle after tackle and still have, the nimbleness, the shiftiness, the explosiveness to break off these big explosive runs. I think it's been really impressive. I'm not sure anybody really could have predicted this. I was optimistic that he could be a guy that could be RB1 and could handle a bigger workload, but to be a guy that carries the ball 25 times and is putting up almost 200 yards, I think I don't want to say super surprising, but I think even it's remarkable to see that from him. And really, it couldn't happen to a better player on that team because he has been around for so long. He's put so much work into this thing. Now, he talked about that in the post-game presser, that he's genuinely worked hard for 5 years to be in this position, and to see him capitalizing on it, you feel an extra sense of gratitude for him and those types of players.
Arizona up next in the dark at Rice-Eccles Stadium, 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time Saturday. We all know what happened in Tucson last year, and I'm not going to say it's going to come down to execution, but if Utah gets a nice lead, they're 11-point favorites. If they get a lead in there, because of what happened at the end of last year, Steve, do you think they're going to put the foot on the gas? How much of what happened at the end of last year could be a factor on Saturday night?
Well, I think, regardless of what the end result ends up being, that absolutely is going to be a thing that Coach Whittingham, other coaches point to is. And, this is just something that college football coaches do. College sports coaches do. All sports. They all try to find these slights, these angles to create a greater chip on the shoulder. And so Utah is absolutely going to use what happened last year as added motivation for this game. And yet, Arizona, they're probably fully aware of what last year will mean to Utah, and they're going to come into this, looking for a fight as well. So, Utah, you can't just rely on, the disrespect of, and you shouldn't even say disrespect, but what that play late in that game potentially meant to them. You can't just rely on that as your source of motivation. It's still going to be important for these guys to go out, play after play, and play a disciplined brand of football to execute at a high level, because Arizona is the sort of team that, even though they lost big against Kansas State on the road, Noah Fafita is a tremendous quarterback. He's a disciplined quarterback. He's going to demand the absolute best of this Utah defense. And so the defense has to be at its best. Coming off the Oklahoma State game, they're going to carry themselves with a bit more confidence. But this is going to be a tougher test, given that Noah Fafita, I think, is a better quarterback than Allen Bowman. Teteroa McMillan is a fantastic receiver, and that's going to be a tough test. So it's going to be important for these guys to raise their level of play, and for Utah, you need them to establish the run, to control the ball, and just execute at a really high level in this one.
Steve Bartle, Ute Insider for KSLSports.com, joins us as he does every week. Steve, we appreciate you taking some extra time, and we'll chat with you again. We're looking forward to this game this weekend, man.
All right, fellas. Appreciate you guys.
We'll come back. We got more to go right around the corner.
With complete coverage of the Utah Hockey Club, this is Cole Bagley of KSLSports.com on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. My goodness. It is football season, isn't it, JJ?
Yes, it is.
We're right in the thick of it.
But you know what we're also excited about?
Ooh, what?
A little hockey.
Go hockey.
That's right.
I'm pretty sure tomorrow we're going to be able to chat with Bill Armstrong.
That's right, 4 o'clock.
General manager of the Utah Hockey Club.
Don't call him Billy.
Don't call him Billy. Oh, well, listen, Bear can. No, that's Billy's job. Billy has to get those guys in, make them work hard.
Bear can do anything he wants because
I know.
he's Bear.
I asked our boss if we can call him Billy. We called Nick Schmaltzy, and he prefers that.
And what did our boss say? He was going to do what to you?
He would physically assault me.
He was going to rip out your larynx.
I think the larynx rip out is that's an elite move.
Better your larynx than your coccyx.
Don't you dare! This is a family program, JJ. Joining us on the program right now, he is our Utah Hockey Club insider, Cole Bagley, on the program here with us. What's going on, Cole? I mean, my goodness, we've had a week of preseason games on the road, and then another big one, of course, at home. You're probably still coming down from Cloud 9 after that situation on Monday, right?
I didn't know what to do with myself yesterday. They gave the boys the day off, and I just sat around like I had no clue what to do with myself. So it was a relief when I got to come to the rink this morning and watch these guys practice some more, talk to a few guys, and see TJ Ginla on the ice for the first time.
Hey, that's exciting. It's good to see Tej back out there. But you were there on Monday night, and it was just a preseason game, Cole, but place was packed. You had an overtime goal for the win. I mean, that was special.
Yeah.
What was the environment like there, and how much bigger is it going to be when we actually have games that count?
It was an unreal atmosphere for a preseason game. I talked to about 5 or 6 of the guys over the last couple of days, and every time you ask them, hey, what was that environment like? They immediately are grinning ear to ear. Like they genuinely could feel the electricity that was at the Delta Center, and I mean, I would echo what they said. It was unbelievable. I mean, I got chills multiple times throughout the evening. When they took the ice for warm-ups, when they turn off all the lights and the guys come out, and I mean, the place just went crazy. And then, of course, the first goal, the roof popped off, and they had a couple fights. I mean, the first period was just as good as the NHL gets on a nightly basis. A couple goals, a couple fights, some big hits. The crowd gets into it, and we had just incredible hockey in Salt Lake City on Monday night.
I love that. A couple goals, couple fights. That's all we need. Just every few periods. Just give us something like that. But yeah, I was telling JJ, I go, you know what? Maybe these guys know how to get the crowd involved, and like the 2 goals fired them up, obviously. But then when the fights happen too, and when Spicy Tuna's out there throwing some punches and then taking a guy down onto the ice there, man, that's about as fun as it gets. And I know the NHL's not big on. It's not as big of a fight culture as it used to be, right? Like I think it's turned a corner in that sense, but it still is like pretty darn exciting, and it's one element that hockey still has that is that's awesome to witness and awesome to kind of be a part of. So now what? The rest of the way here. What's the rest of the preseason look like, and then what does it look like walking up to October 8th when the puck will drop for real at Delta Center?
Yeah, so unfortunately, there's quite a few games on the schedule now for the preseason out of town. So they're headed to Vegas this weekend. They'll meet up with Colorado, out to San Jose, Anaheim, and then they'll come home and play their final preseason game at the Maverick Center against Colorado. So, a couple games on the road, which is unfortunate for fans and most of us in the media as well. As I won't be able to attend those games live, but it's still going to be great. These guys are coming together. We saw glimpses of how good this power play unit is going to be. Not only just the first lineup with guys like Keller and Sergachev, but then the second unit scored both goals in the first period for them with Kerfoot and Krause and Michelli. That lineup is looking really good and is one definitely to keep an eye on as we approach the season. But for the next 2 weeks, it's just about continued development. It's about shoring up lines, pairings. Who's going to be on that second and third line? Is Josh Stone going to make the roster? Does Cole Beaudois have a legitimate chance to be on the opening day roster? how do those defensive pairings look now that you've got Sergachev on this team and Marino and Cole? How does that shift things? Who's going to be, out there with Dursey? So there's still a lot to be done through these next couple of weeks, and it's all about just making sure that they have the right guys on the roster when October 8th hits, and not only the right guys on the roster, but that they have the right lines and pairings so that they can be clicking right as the puck drops.
You mentioned Teach again earlier, and there's a 99.9% chance he's not going to be on the roster. He's going to be playing back up north. We know that, but I think everybody's excited about this young kid, and they love it for a chance to see him on the ice. You mentioned he's back out practicing. Is there any chance that fans could get to see him one time in that game at the Maverick Center against the Avalanche?
We'll see if they put him out there at the Maverick Center. I think it would be the right thing to do. I anticipate we'll see Teach dress for one of these preseason games. Not for certain yet. He's not quite 100%, is what he told us today, but he's well enough to be out on the ice. He looks good. I mean, we had a 2-hour practice, and I just completely focused on him. I watched his movements, to see if he looked like he was still hurting, or if there was any sort of fatigue or anything like that. As far as I saw, he looked phenomenal. He was his old self again. He was fast. He was smart. He was creative, and at times he was a one-man show. In one particular instance, he came from behind the net with the puck, came right into the slot area, stopped on a dime, and sent his defender flying and put it in the back of the net before the goalie could even figure out that the shot was headed his way. And then moments later, he scored on a tip-in right in front of the crease. So he looks good. It might just be more of, hey, I don't quite feel 100% yet. But my guess is they'll just kind of continue to play it by ear, see how he's doing. And if he feels 100%, that I would anticipate they throw him on the ice. Not for certain if it'll be, the last tune-up game at the Maverick Center. There could be some things going into that where they say, hey, rather than throwing, DJ out there when he's likely not going to make this roster, we'd rather have as close to our opening night roster as possible. But, we'll see as time goes on.
Cole Bagley, Utah Hockey Club insider, KSLSports.com, living the dream here in the next few weeks. And then, of course, I love how you're like, I don't even know what to do with myself today. And then in a few months, it's going to be like, I have not gotten a break, because these games are going to be, of course, coming at you fast and furious, and going 82 across an entire season is a lot. 41 at home. Cannot wait for this one. Cole, thanks for hanging out with us, man. We'll chat with you again.
Yeah, hoping to just keep the energy going. It's been amazing so far, and I can't wait to continue. So happy to be here, and I feel like the luckiest guy on the planet right now.
You are. You're
killing it, Cole. Thanks.
Something tells me. I was going to say something tells me we're going to be able to keep this energy up.
Yeah, for sure. Every week here, Cole.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
sounds good, guys.
There you go, Cole Bagley, everybody. Let's take the break here. We'll come back. We've got more to go around the corner. Hey, by the way, it's time for the KSL Sports Zone UFC ticket giveaway. Your chance to win a pair of tickets to UFC 307 at Delta Center on October 5th. Just go to KSLSports.com/contest right now. You click the UFC 307 ticket giveaway, and then you enter a keyword. Today, the keyword is heavyweight. You making fun of me, Jeremy? Is that what's going on? Okay. Jeremy assures me
I heard a snicker. I heard a snicker.
The keyword
all the
for
way
today,
over here.
The UFC 307 giveaway. The ticket giveaway keyword is heavyweight. So there you go. Type it in there on the KSLSports.com/contest page, and you can be entered to win. Here we go. We'll take a break here. We'll come back. We got more to go right around the corner. Like I said, at 5 o'clock, you're going to be able to hear from Utah running back Mekhi Bernard, our weekly conversation with him. And then also next hour, the wide receivers coach for BYU, Fesi Sitake, going to join us. So join us the rest of the day. You don't want to miss any of it. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best college football coverage in Utah is on the KSL Sports Zone. Ready? It's the first Big 12 home battle for the Utes as they return to the Hill for a battle against Arizona. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's tricky. All right, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're going to chat with Tim Brown here at RJ6 Series in just a moment. Before we do, two things going on. We talked with Steve Bartle last hour, and then we had Cole Bagley on, so I didn't get to ask you this. But what are we doing? What are we doing with the whole camera thing?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
What are we doing? Why are we doing this again? Utah fan is the rising rumor fatigue has got to be. It's a fever pitch at this point. Like
there's two things I want to separate here.
Mm-hmm.
So Cam Rising, I understand. I'm not saying he's not hurt.
That's what Steve Bartle said. He goes,
None of us are
just don't
saying
mistake
that
it. He's
stuff.
injured. I said, no, I get it.
We get that. We understand.
He was injured last year.
But you can also at the same time understand, like, my goodness, this roller coaster is not fun to be on.
Right.
Guessing and wondering whether or not this player is going to show up. And I can't imagine what it's like for the team being like, well, who's our quarterback on Saturday? We don't know. This is a team that has the ability to not only go to the playoffs but win a playoff game.
No, I know.
We've seen the talent.
Wild.
But we're not seeing a complete 4 quarters out of this team either. So it's frustrating. And you almost feel like Kyle Whittingham at the beginning of the week say, okay, until Cam is 100% healthy and says he's ready to go, the freshman's our quarterback.
Yeah.
And we're just going to roll with him until you hear otherwise. That would take care of it because we're okay.
Yeah, but that's not what he says, obviously.
Right.
And part of it is
and he's not going to because he doesn't have to.
Right, and there's the gamesmanship on top of it, but there's also the part where it's like, I don't need to tell you anything. So Kyle Whittingham was like, I don't care. I don't need to tell you anything.
The team knows, or is the team still in the dark?
Now, that's an interesting question.
Because that's really all that matters.
I think that, based off of how he was warming up last week, like, would you want that guy to go? No.
I would have made that decision the second in the middle of the week where you're like, okay, he's not feeling it. Okay, we're done.
Right.
We got to get Isaac ready.
Okay.
And if he's thrown with a glove, he can't play.
Let me roll out. Here's what Witt said. I'll just remind you. Here's what he said about the availability of Cam Rising for this week.
To be determined throughout the course of this week, and it's hinged upon how things go in practice, where guys are health-wise and that type of thing. Don't have that answer just yet.
Where's your BS meter on that, JJ?
I mean, he doesn't have to tell us.
I know.
So, yeah, it's high. But it's no disrespect to Kyle. He doesn't have to tell us.
He has a process, too. And it's worked. Why would you question it?
And that was on Tuesday.
Right.
So you can't make that evaluation on Tuesday. You've got to see him throw throughout the week. Right. I understand that. I'm not naive and dumb. It's a process going through the week to find out whether he's ready or not. He can feel like last week. It sounds like he felt good earlier in the week, and then it kind of got sore or something. I don't know. Like, it's just an injury. You're dealing with it. The problem is it's an injury at the main position.
Yeah.
And if this was another university and another different situation, it'd be like, whatever. But this is different for the Utes.
It's a Win Ticket Wednesday. We got to get some stuff away here before we get to Tim. Today, being Win Ticket Wednesday, in honor of it, we're going to give out some tickets. Real Salt Lake taking on Minnesota United FC on October 2nd. What's that, next week? Yeah. Real Salt Lake, Minnesota United FC, October 2nd, America First Field. Easy enough for you to be able to win those. You just be calling number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. It's all part of a Win Ticket Wednesday right here on the KSL Sports Zone. Speaking of being on the air here, Tim from RGS Exteriors on the now, you get to chat with customers quite a bit, and when you get to chat with them at their place, at their houses, and you kind of get with them and they're going through some of the things, the big concerns that are out there, not just this time of year, but kind of in general. So you have a couple things, the functionality part, and then the part where you want to beautify the home too, which is also something you guys take a lot of pride in, making sure that the home looks beautiful. I'm one of those guys that has Hardy siding on the outside of the home. I love the Hardy siding, and you guys are have a massive relationship with the James Hardy siding people. So tell us a little bit about that and what you guys can do to make the outside of the home look better, which means your house is going to be worth more.
Yeah, I love it. So a couple things. One, let's go back to there's a magazine, Remodel Magazine, every year does what they call cost versus value. And they basically give you, if you do X to your home, you're going to get Y back. Mm-hmm. For years, it was kitchens and bathrooms was the highest return. Then it was really weird. One year was a garage door. Don't know why, but that was one of the biggest things you got. But the last couple of years has actually been, believe it or not, James Hardy siding.
Yeah.
So in other words, one of the best things you can do for your home is James Hardy siding as far as what you're going to get back. Now, I would never lie to anybody and say you're going to get 1-to-1 back, but you might, especially with the way homes are appreciating in Utah. You may get it. So that would be the first thing, is that you're going to dramatically appreciate your value of your home by updating your exteriors.
Sure.
The second thing, going back to, we have a very big relationship with James Hardy. We are the only true elite preferred Hardy contractor. There's a few listed on the website, but if you dig into a detail, they don't have. In order to be an elite preferred, you have to have a referral rate of 90% or more, meaning 90% of your customers will hire you again.
Sure.
From an independent company of gold quality. We're the only ones in the state of Utah that meet that.
Awesome.
And we have a 94% rating. Unheard of in nationwide, to be honest with you. So that's something we're proud of. Second thing is I personally sit on the board of directors for the advisory council for James Hardy siding. We're the only ones in the western United States. Why? Because we install so much Hardy. So what does all that mean? We're in bed with Hardy. Great. But what that means for you as a consumer is that we are going to be able to take care of you because of my relationship. I literally sit on a board with the CEO, with the number one guys of James Hardy siding. If we ever have an issue, I have a direct connection.
That's awesome.
It's a huge thing. It's something that I'm very, very grateful for. I'm proud of. We have a board meeting in 2 weeks that they just kind of sprung on us. I already had a meeting going. They're like, you got to do something to get here. We need you here. And it's not that we're anything great. It's just that we're so in tune with what the homeowners. We're plugged in. Love it. So, and the last thing really is, we've talked a lot about gutters today, but we haven't talked about just what it can do to make the difference in your home.
Yeah.
When you replace your home, you have an old stucco or stone or brick or old vinyl or wood siding, and you replace it and update it with new James Hardy siding, it is amazing. You literally have a brand new home.
Wow.
And it's way more affordable than people think. Is it cheap? No. But we have so many financing options that we can do that we can do the job today and not even pay a penny for a year. Or we can do long-term financing or an equity line in your house. There's 100 options. We got to get in the mindset, when we buy a car, how often do we just drop green cash and pay cash for our cars?
Not that often.
We don't.
Yeah.
We finance them. Well, that asset depreciates, but our homes appreciate.
Right.
Why would we not finance when we do work on our home that appreciates?
It's cheap
the money
man.
that you're
It's a good
paying,
investment.
it's a huge investment because even the money, even if you're paying interest, your home is gaining more equity than the interest you're paying. So you're still making money on it. So we tell customers all the time, finance that project. Don't pay cash for it. So anyway, that's what we're here. We're here to help out, and that's what we're here for.
Let me give out the phone number, 801-280-3110. That's 801-280-3110. You've got a connection here in the city of Utah when it comes to that Hardy siding, and I'm telling you,
better.
it looks beautiful.
James Hardy siding is the way to go.
It looks awesome, and it functions phenomenally, and there's just nothing better. So if you want to get somebody to get in and take a look at it and see how you can appreciate that massive investment you've made in your home, then let's do it. 801-280-3110 for RJS Exteriors. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Our conversation with Mekhi Bernard coming up next. Stay right here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Get the latest Utah sports headlines delivered to your inbox with the KSL Sports Newsletter from the Jam.
It's time to take you inside the huddle. Here we go. Straight from the source. This is the Players Club with JJ and Alex, featuring Ute running back Mekhi Bernard on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on in, everybody. It's another edition of the Players Club right here on JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us, everybody. And, of course, our weekly conversation with Utah running back Mekhi Bernard. Mekhi, I didn't check all the stats. Did you play in this game on Saturday, or was that just my heavens? What a freaking game, man. I don't know if you know this, but you're currently third in the conference in rushing. Is that wild or what?
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. Came a long way. So, it feels good. Finally get recognized and finally be doing a great job on this team.
One of the most interesting things I thought about the day you had was not just the yards, but it was yards after contact. So you have 186 rushing yards, I believe, but 142 came after contact.
Jeez.
Is that something you practice or work on, or is that just what is that? How are you so good at yards after contact?
We practice that practice a lot. Coach Q always says, you want to fall forward, you want to get your shoulders down because you're going to fall forward. Create your own double teams and stuff like that. And, we practice that. It comes because, I pay attention to what Coach says, and I try to implement it in my game.
You brought up Coach Quinton Ganther and what he does as a coach, and one of the things he said is, look, guys play when they produce in practice. So you must be practicing like you play. What is it that you do in practice that, one, shows that you're the guy, and two, kind of helps everybody else kind of see that that's what you're supposed to do to keep those reps coming?
I keep it very plain and simple. You guys ask me a lot of questions, and I always say the same thing. I read my read keys. There's read keys that tell you what to do and make you right. So, I continue to do that. I'm an expert at it now. And, when Coach see you reading your read keys and making the right plays, they trust in you.
You had another run go viral this game, Makai. Your 62-yard run. You left some poor guy without any ACLs. I hope he's doing okay. Rest in peace to his knees. Take us through that 62-yard run. That was a backbreaker for Oklahoma State, a big play in that game. And what worked for you on that run? What did you see?
First of all, Coach, he just asked me, man. He was like, can you go? Because I was tired. I was gassed. It was so hot out there. And I was like, man, of course I can go. And so go out there, we get the play call. And we're kind of backed up or whatever. I'm like, whatever I got to do is we got to move the ball at least 5 yards. 5 yards, just get us some space. And, at first when I got the ball, I thought I had a big hole, a big open hole. I was like, oh, yeah, this look clean. And then I seen somebody rush through the gap, and I'm like, oh, snap. But, he didn't really try to commit to the tackle, so I just, didn't really worry about him. And then the rest was history. And then breaking the dude's ankles, it wasn't the plan. I didn't mean to. I was just trying to, get him to stop, and I seen him start leaning, and I'm like, oh, snap, I can run again. And then, I looked forward, and I seen all that field, and I'm like, dang, I'm tired.
You're like, this turf does feel like it's 130 degrees out here. Well, it was crazy, too, because last week we were talking about the stiff arms. This time it was the magical, you don't have to touch anybody. They just hit the turf on their own. It was It was quite fun. Well, we talked a lot about you and your accolades and all, that was a phenomenal game, and you've had a tremendous go already. You've really only played in 3.5 games, and you're third in the conference in rushing yards. And I think more importantly, and what Coach Witt always talks about, is those 5 yards per, and you're at 7 per, which is pretty darn good. And so, but this team is winning. You guys are 4-0. You guys are doing exactly what everybody thinks that you should be doing, which is winning all these games. You went down to Oklahoma State and did it. So how do you maintain that? What's the message this week that you guys are talking about to get you guys back onto that same thing? Because it's not just winning, it's winning every week, because you guys have that big old target on your back.
Yeah, it's just we gotta be able to produce at practice every single day, week in and week out, and be able to do the same things. I mean, like we said, we have not yet played our best football, and so that's what we want to put on tape, is us playing our best football, because when we do that, then we're unstoppable. And, we find ways to win right now, but once we put everything together, it's going to be just a different team, a different breed of athletes on the field, throughout the week.
Isaac Wilson continues to be thrust into these situations that maybe, nobody expected to have happen, or he's got to just come in and make it happen. Cam decides minutes before the game that he can't go, and Isaac's got to go in there. As a true freshman, are you impressed with the way that he's been playing, especially considering some of the circumstances that he's had to be thrown into this early in his career?
Yeah, I'm very proud of him. He's learning week in and week out what it takes to be, a Power 4 quarterback. And, he's still making his, little mistakes because he's young, but, he's also making some big plays that you wouldn't expect him to be making at this time. But I think he's just getting more comfortable week in and week out, and it's helping him a lot.
You talked a lot about how when Cam's not in the huddle, and as a leader, and as a quarterback, and as somebody who's been in the program, as long as you have, basically. Now, when he's not in there, that you're that guy who's vocal. How has that come along for you? And how have you liked that role as being that leader now that, there's been a couple games without Cam in that huddle?
I love that role. It's nice when, I'm getting a lot of the credit for me running all these rushing yards and stuff like that. But, I'll be talking to the O-line and the huddle like, hey, guys, I see lanes. Just keep doing you. Keep doing this. And then I'm also in Isaac's ear like, Isaac, we got you, bro. I think, after every good pass he makes, I go to him, shake his hand, tell him good job. Or even the bad ones, I'm like, hey, go, you good, bro. Just relax. Calm down. And I'm just making sure the whole huddle is, just locked in and tuned in to the next play. Not the play before, but the next one.
249 yards rushing against Oklahoma State as a team. I want to give you a chance to love up your O-line because they have been tremendous in run blocking. That was a strong, physical Oklahoma State defense that I think is going to be one of the best defenses in the Big 12 this year, and those guys took it to them. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, the O-line, they're doing a tremendous job, like I said. They're getting a lot of push. And like I said before, Coach Q, he says create your own double teams. Even when there's not a lot of push, when you got a body on a body, I'm an extra body to push that body. So that's what I mean by creating my own double teams and getting those extra yards. And, even though sometimes the line's not pushing them, when we do that, we're going to make a push. And that's where, this yardage is coming from, just plays like that.
Makai, as you guys get ready for Arizona this week, and you guys have gone through a couple practices already, what have you seen on film that Arizona does, and what is it that you guys are preparing for this week as the Wildcats come into town?
They have a good front. I think they have the two ends are pretty good. Chase Kennedy being a former Ute, I know what he's about, so it's nice to go and play against him. But their linebacker plays very nice as well. Number 5, he's a great athlete, plays physical. They're a single high team, so we're trying to see what we can do to exploit that. But it's looking good so far. First day of prep was yesterday. Today was a good practice. I think it's looking good so far.
Last year they took it to you guys down in Tucson. You give them credit, but they ran it up a little bit on you guys. They ran some go routes at the end of the game there, got a late touchdown. How much of what happened last year is going to factor into this matchup again this year? Or you guys flushed that and you're moving on? Does that still linger a little bit of frustration with how things went in Tucson?
Yeah, it does a little bit, but again, you can't take too much of that into this game. You got to play this game, and this game, this is a new game. But yeah, we remember that, and we want to make sure they pay for that. But again, like I said, we got to focus on this team, the team that they have right now, how we're going to defeat them.
Brant Keefe brought up that the crowd at Oklahoma State was not nearly as rowdy as he wanted it to be. You sort of iterated that against Utah State. It's like these crowds go to sleep pretty quick when you guys are putting it on them, and when you guys start to kind of assert the dominance there. So not much out of the folks at Oklahoma State then, per your view, or how did you see it?
Oh yeah, I don't know, man. I thought it was going to be very hostile, and it wasn't that hostile in my opinion. And not to knock at them, but I feel like I don't know if because the heat was getting to me, but I didn't really hear them chirping too much. It wasn't loud as you would say. Maybe they had a couple moments, but I've been in some loud stadiums, and I don't want to say I was disappointed in that, but I mean it wasn't as much as a lot of people hyped it up to be.
Hey, by the end, it was a sea of red in the stands while you were singing Utah, man. So that's probably the lasting image you guys will have from your trip down there. That was a great game and a great moment. It kind of vaults you guys forward. And we talked in the offseason how big of a game that was, Makai. And to have that in the bag now, how important did you guys look at that game, and how important is it now to have that game in the bag, knowing how important it was to get that road win against another contender?
It felt pretty good. We wanted to open up Big 12 play with a bang, and we wanted to make sure we go into Big 12 with a W, and that's what we went in there and did. And just to have that, be one of the top 2 teams playing in the Big 12, and knocking them off a little early, you know, it shows a lot of promise in this season and what we're going to be capable of doing and the goals we're going to reach. So it's nice to have that right now, but like I said, we still got a lot more games to play, and that's focusing on this week at Arizona.
Let's talk about Arizona. A night game, 8:30 p.m. kickoff. Might even end up being later than that, depending on how all the games go before your guys' game. What is it about you guys playing at night? What is it that elevates your play in that environment, in that atmosphere?
I don't know. I think it's like the biggest thing I would say for like games between day and night is the weather. So like when it's super hot, a lot of people love to be out there and cheer us on, but at the same time, some of them can't take the heat and they need to get out of it. And so like, you know, you start to see a lot of people leave early, but at night I feel like everybody stays and everybody's there and everybody's ready. And then when you have, you know, a great team you're playing against also, you know, they just love to just cheer us on. And it's very, I don't know, it's just a different feeling when you have a big crowd behind you, you know, the whole game.
Makai, as you see you guys preparing for this game again this week, and it's a long season, how do you guys kind of stay in it from week to week and make sure that you guys stay on top of these? Because you know, people talk about trap games, things like that, but that's not really a Coach Kyle Whittingham signature thing. His deal is to take it week after week, but how do you do that now that you're 4 or 5 years into being able to do that and watch how it works and to really take every game one at a time?
I think it started in for me 2019 when we made the championship. Like that's what you're striving for, to win championships. And then, you know, in 21 when you win the championship and then you win it again, it's like all we want to do is win. So we can't take any games off. We can't take any days off because winning is a great feeling. Losing is the worst feeling. And also, like, when you were winning, everything just seems so smooth and so easy rather than, you know, losing and have to reset. We can keep building on wins, and it's hard to build off losses because everybody gets down. So, yeah.
Last question. It's about the fourth quarter, so hopefully I bring my fourth quarter question here strong for you, Makai. What is it about you in the fourth quarter? You currently lead the nation in fourth quarter rushing yards. That's a crazy weird stat, but it speaks to how well conditioned you are and the endurance that you have and how hard you run, and also a tribute to your offensive line. But I'm curious, what have you done to prepare yourself to be so good in the fourth quarter? Is that training? Is it a mindset? What goes into that?
It's absolutely a mindset. I think Coach Q does a great job. Every single fourth quarter, he's like, it goes through us. Like, this is what you wanted. He tells me every game, you got to go out there and finish it. Go out there and finish it. Go out there and show them who you are. And like, I think he said this the last 3 games. Because you know, in the first game I didn't play the full game, but he said, this is your time. Finish it. Like, just go hard. Give it everything you got. We're running through you. We know we're gonna give you the ball. We're trying to run clock. And so just to have that in me, have the coaches say that to me, it feels good. It makes me want to go out there and go harder. You know, on that last drive against Oklahoma State, you know, we needed that first down, and you know, it just those yards stack up. And he kept saying, "Hey, go do it. Hey, we need 3. Just give me 3." And I think I attribute that to Coach Q and, you know, his mindset and him feeding his mindset into me every single day and every single week.
Makai Bernard, our weekly conversation with the Utah's running back who's having a phenomenal year so far. Number one, stay healthy. That's how we can keep you out on the field and how we can keep chatting with you every week and have these rundowns of how successful you've been, man. So thanks again for coming on the program with us. We'll chat with you again next week.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Okay. There you go.
Thanks, Makai.
Makai Bernard. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We got more to go right around the corner at 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best college football coverage in Utah is on the KSL Sports Zone. Ready? The Cougars head to Texas for a conference showdown against Baylor and Waco. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Want to remind you, Mitch Harper and myself, our BYU insider for KSLSports.com, Mitch Harper and I, every Sunday, 10 to noon, on the KSL Sports Zone and on KSL News Radio, we do our full Big 12 wrap-up with First and 12. It's all brought to you by Macy's. Happy shopping. Joining us on the program right now, BYU wide receiver coach Fesi Sitake in the program. Coach, thanks for being with us, man.
Of course, no problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Man, we're excited about this group you have in that wide receiver room. Let's talk about your guys specifically. What type of year you see guys like Chase Roberts and to be able to have Keelan Marion, to be able to have Darius Lassiter. I know I'm not going to say every dude's name, and so there are a lot that you have in that room that are doing so much great work. How awesome is it to have that type of veteran leadership in your wide receiver group?
It's been really good, man. They make my job easier, that's for sure. The quality, not just the depth, but the quality of depth in the room has been it's been really nice to have. And you know, some guys having a little more stats right now than others. But the thing I love the most about this room is when you talk about leadership, you know, I think one of those characteristics is if you're not getting the ideal stats of maybe some of the guys across the country or what you envisioned, you know, how's your own personal morale? How are you holding your head up? Are you still doing all the little things? And what I love about the room is, you know, all these guys they're happy after every win, no matter what. I know wins make that easier, but a lot of egos in receiver rooms across the country, you know, and you know, we naturally still have them. I have them, but I just love the personality of these guys. They're all about the team. It's been really fun to coach them.
Yeah, always known as a diva position, but it's great that you guys have that vibe going on there, Coach. And I want to talk about one receiver in particular, in Chase Roberts, who we knew was talented and knew what he could do. It feels like, from our perspective watching the games, that he's taken another step. Have you seen that as a coach? Has he taken another step as a receiver? Because he's off to a great start this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, that's I attribute that to just confidence. He's earned the right to be confident. You know, he's the weight he's put on, the good weight. He's the strongest, you know, top to bottom, pound for pound. He's the strongest guy in the receiver group. He's improved on press man coverage, which is something he needed to improve on, and playing stronger. He's a team captain. There's all these things that have just sealed, you know, that leadership cup. And I think that's why, you know, a lot of people are seeing him play that way and having that production because he's worked for that confidence. And I've been really happy to see that.
Well, let's have you talk about the quarterback who's throwing to him. Jake Retzlaff has certainly been, I mean, it's a night and day difference on the efficiency, which, of course, has also meant, you know, a 4-0 start. Not bad considering where, you know, things ended up last year when he took over those last 4 games. And so what's been the difference of his game and being able to kind of marry that up with your guys?
I think it's a combination of just experience, you know, time and having that experience, especially at that position. And then once again, just him earning that right to be confident. You know, there's hasn't in the history of BYU, I'm not saying this is factual, but I would be surprised if there's any quarterback that had to come in and play the same game stretch that Jake had to on that kind of a stage. And so that there was a lot, and he knows as well as anyone the things he needed to do. But a lot of that comes with testing things out, you know, and learning the hard way with some mistakes. And you know, those were team losses, and I know a lot of people can highlight, you know, he sticks out. That's what you sign up for at quarterback. But you look at Zach Wilson, for example, his freshman year, he made a lot of the same mistakes at a higher volume of them, but the stage was smaller. You know, it wasn't against Oklahoma and Oklahoma State on national TV. He was a freshman, so it was justifiable. And, you know, his performance made a lot of people forget about that. And I think that's what we're seeing with Jake. You know, he learned those lessons the hard way, and so a lot of the improvements he's made is just the experience of him being in this system now, playing with confidence and realizing, okay, I can do this, and I probably shouldn't do this. And so I've, like you guys, I've been really happy with his efficiency, and he's taken a huge step as a leader and as our quarterback.
That night against Kansas State's one of those magical games you'll never forget. I'm sure your entire locker room, coaches and players will never forget it. And, of course, one of the most unforgettable plays was Parker Kingston's punt return. Now, you're his position coach, so I'm curious. I know you talked to him on the sideline after that. What did you tell him after that incredible play?
I told him I was going to kill him. I coach. So I coach the punt returners and the kick returners too. Obviously, Kelly Papinga oversees special teams, but I have the returners, and so I let everyone praise him. I've never been through such a roller coaster of emotions in one play than I did there. It went from like, oh my gosh, what are you doing, to stay out of the end zone, to, oh my gosh, are you going to get the corner, to, holy cow, this dude's a freak, to, why are you dropping the ball and making it that close? And so I just went through everything. And so while everyone was hitting his head and celebrating him and being, the part of the reason he threw up, on live TV, I was just processing, how can I frame the message the right way to this kid after a huge moment? So jokes aside, I sat down, I put my arm around him. I just said, listen, man, unbelievable. That is who you are. Such a great return. But you got to do this. You got to catch it the first time. You got to make sure you hand the ball to the ref. Everyone gave you the praise and you deserve it. But you need to learn. You need to learn from this kid. And I'm going to coach you hard on that. And it was awesome. Parker's so good at taking coaching. But, man, it was emotional in every sense of the word. But the greatest one was just pure joy and elation because he deserves that moment, man. He didn't play any offensive snaps that game, and I know he wanted to. Up to that point he hadn't. And he deserves it. It's been a long time coming. So I'm super happy for him and grateful for all the work he puts in.
Before we cut you loose here, Fesi, one of the things that, we've watched is this coaching staff turn a corner as well. How big has it been for you guys as a group when you sit down and you game plan and you sit down in your meetings with Kalani and Coach Jay Hill and you guys all get together and you guys talk about getting this group to that next level? What are those conversations sounding like and looking like?
Yeah, they're really, what's awesome is everyone is somehow tied into each other. There's a lot of built-in history with each other, and you talk about Jay Hill. I mean, almost every coach on the staff has had some kind of experience with him, and same with Kalani and A-Rod. And so when we talk, it's very, very efficient conversation. We can be matter of fact. We can be bold. No one has to worry about feelings. And I think we're able to get a lot of productive conversations done because that doubt and that questioning is removed because we all know each other. And so that's been really cool to see, man. I'm blessed to be in a room and on a staff with a bunch of just smart people who get it, and they help me become a better coach. And it's always fun to meet with each other.
Last question for you, Coach. There was a quarterback at UNLV today that decided that he was going to take a red shirt at UNLV and not play anymore because he didn't get money that was promised to him. I'm not going to ask you to speak to that situation, but you as a recruiter are in the homes all the time. You're going through the process of talking to these kids. Can you explain to everybody how important it is to have integrity in those situations and be very clear with these kids because of what's going on now with NIL?
Yeah, it's a great question, man. I think it's funny to see how every coach kind of hits NIL different. It's a slippery slope because we can only get involved so much, right? But it's part of the landscape of college football. One thing I truly believe in is here at BYU, that has become a really good filtering process for us. And the issue isn't, we're not shying away from NIL. We know it's part of the deal. But I think it's been really cool for us as a staff to be able to frame NIL the right way and to see who is really about playing college football versus who's about chasing after something. And we already had a filtering process. We have the honor code. We have high academics. There's a high standard here. And so to be able to add NIL to that, just to see how kind of these families are, parents are just as big in this, man. There's kids who are awesome, and you meet parents, and they're the ones who are driving conversations, even though we can't talk about it. That's a major red flag. And so, each school has their own unique challenges, and we've been really fortunate that hasn't been a huge issue here, and that's just a sign of a great culture, a great team, and unbelievable young men.
Coach Fesi Sitake, BYU wide receivers coach, and he also coaches the punt and kick returners, just so you know.
He wears many hats.
Only when they catch it. Only when they catch it, I coach.
Yeah, that's right.
Coach, we appreciate you taking a few minutes here, and we're looking forward to this game against Bagley this weekend, and have fun, man.
Thanks, man. You guys too. Appreciate it.
There you go.
Thanks, Coach.
Fesi Sitake. There you go. Kind of a straight shooter type of guy, right? Every time you talk to him.
It's just what a great personality and fun to talk to, and he gets it. He understands it. I get why I would say. How would you say no to that guy when he's recruiting you? Why would you not want to play for him?
I don't think a lot of people know. I mean, some people know that every coach is kind of recruiting in a way, right? But he's a huge part of getting in the homes of these kids, and he's a huge part of getting that yes. He's a huge part of getting those commitments, and it's a team effort, and he'll tell you that. But I mean, honestly, the amount of genuine kind of approach, like parents and coaches. Our parents and kids, I think, appreciate that when somebody sits down in front of them and is 1,000% genuine And you can kind of get that vibe. And when they make that offer, I mean, look, he's a huge reason why Zach Wilson ended up at BYU, right? Because of the relationship that he established when he was a coach at Weber.
He was an offensive coordinator at Weber State and did an amazing job and helped Jay Hill turn that program into an FCS power.
Yeah, and it is fun to see the connections that these guys have and how much they work together, and when they have that success too. It's the same thing that happens up at Utah, right? These guys have been coaching together and working together for decades, and so when they have years where it starts to kind of all turn around and they start to make a splash, you feel pretty good for them because they've been doing it for so long, and the stresses of being a coach at the collegiate level are now obviously stronger than they've ever been. So there you go. There you go, Coach Fesi Sitake. We appreciate BYU throwing him on the phone there right after practice. We're going to take a break. We're going to come right back. We've got more to go right around the corner. And when we return, I'm going to see if we can get that chunk of audio from the Bay Area as the A's are making their way out for the last time, or at least they're going to be playing at the Coliseum for the last time at the end of the season here.
This qualifies as best and worst
for
multiple reasons.
It actually might, yeah. So you're going to want to hear this when we come back. So more to go right around the corner, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
And now, a look at traffic from the KSL Traffic Center.
We got a rollover crash. It's kind of causing some big backups on the South Belt right now.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
Hey, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being on the program here with us. I'm gonna throw the headset on Tim here from RGS Exteriors. We've been chatting about all the stuff, man. Look, just life lessons in sports, dude. We were just talking about how wrestling. I don't know which one. Like, cause I hated wrestling when I was in high school. I hated it because of buddy stares were like, when you're a heavyweight, you carried the guy that was in that you wrestled with, your wrestling mate. Like the guy you'd have wrestle-offs with every other week, and you carry that dude who was 270 pounds up the stairs.
No fun, man.
Matt Garrett. I'll never forget the way Matt Garrett smelled.
Oh,
all right?
my gosh. You can't get that off in the shower, can you?
I can't get it off
you
all
still
these years
smell it
later.
today.
Oh, my gosh.
I can remember.
You still smell it today.
Remember on Seinfeld, the Beast?
Oh, yeah.
They got in the car and they couldn't get it out of the upholstery?
Couldn't get it out, and even the guy, he's tried to get the guy to steal the car. He wouldn't do it.
He's the Beast.
Yeah. Well, and he was 6'7". My wrestling mate was 6'7".
Oh, my gosh.
And so I was like, 5'11", maybe in high school, and I couldn't even get him up those are life lessons that you learn in wrestling, man.
Hey, it's what it is. Look, my oldest was a really good wrestler in high school, and I'll never forget Blake Mengelson, stud at BYU.
Yeah.
They were both, I think they were both ranked very high, and Blake got my son in a cradle, and my son never gets in cradles. But Blake was this long, in high school, he was long, lanky, skinny. It was weird. He was just like 6'4", whatever he is, and weighed like 175 pounds.
That's hilarious.
But
he's probably at least 270.
Oh, yeah, right. He's probably 100 pounds there. But anyway, he got my kid in the cradle, and he was done. And my kid was really good, and favored to beat Mengelson is man, that's what wrestling teaches you.
Yeah, there's some
you just never know. There's life lessons.
6'5", 260 now out of Juab High School.
Yeah, I'm telling you, in high school. Well, in fact, that was the one time my son sucked down to 182. Never did again. So he was under 182 pounds. So whatever he weighed under 182 pounds.
I think
he's
think
done a lot of eating since.
I think you mispronounced it too. It's Huab.
Oh,
it's Huab?
Sorry.
Huab.
Soft J.
Anyway, no, life's good. And look, we're just honored to have you guys today. We appreciate you guys being here. We appreciate our relationship with the Zone and the listeners. And, look, we just want to take care of your customers, whether it's the siding, the gutters, whatever it is. We just want to take care of them and help your customers out, give them a good deal, and make their homes beautiful.
Don't treat your customers like the Oakland A's treated theirs.
Oh, no. You know what?
Said.
While you're doing that, I'm going to make you listen to this. This is a sportscaster in that we heard a little bit of it in the pre-show. I don't know if you heard it while we were listening.
Oh, yeah, this morning. This is crazy.
It's crazy. I want people to listen to this. This is our best and worst. All brought to you by the folks at the Doug Smith dealerships in American Fork, Spanish Fork. And here's the best and worst all wrapped up into one. A frustrated Oakland, to say the least. And I think that this sports anchor in the Oakland, California area, in the Bay Area, basically spoke for everybody there how this thing went down. Take a listen to what it sounded like.
Fans.
Is that the letter right there?
This is the letter. This is a great work of fiction, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what it is. So many A's fans would say this explanation is both weak and long overdue, but we're finally hearing from Fisher about exactly how we got to this point in time. Fisher says he knows the A's are part of the fabric of Oakland and then goes on to explain his version of reality. Fisher says when he and his business partner, Lou Wolf, bought the team back in 2005, quote, our dream was to win world championships and build a new ballpark in Oakland. Over the next 18 years, we did our very best to make that happen. We proposed and pursued 5 different locations in the Bay Area, and despite mutual and ongoing efforts to get a deal done for the Howard Terminal project, we came up short. Now, he goes on to say, I know there is great disappointment, even bitterness. Though I wish I could speak to each one of you individually, I can tell you this from the heart. We tried. Staying in Oakland was our goal, it was our mission, and we failed to achieve it. And for that, I am genuinely sorry. Now, over the weekend, the A's hosted the Yankees for the final time at the Coliseum. And it was emotional. They got swept in 3 games, the A's did, but the series brought out some of the biggest crowds of the season to the Coliseum. The final series ever in Oakland starts tomorrow. The A's hosting the Texas Rangers. The very last game at the Coliseum is set for Thursday afternoon, starting at 12:45. That game is sold out, by the way. Cheapest resale tickets are going for around $65. In typical A's fashion, they raised the price for the last game. All right, so you heard Fisher's statement. Let me tell you what reality is, okay? John, you tried 5 different, extremely flawed stadium proposals. You never got even close to a shovel in the ground. Yes, Oakland politics is often a mess. I will give you that. But John, you surround yourself with incompetent yes men, and because you were born into a billionaire family, apparently never learned you have to spend money to make money. See Joe Lacob and the Golden State Warriors, your buddy, who still wants to buy the team. John, you're a serial penny pincher. You've destroyed your family's great name and legacy because of your cheapness. As for the statement about loyal A's fans, quote, I wish I could speak to each and every one of you individually, end quote. Seriously? John, we've been trying to interview you for years, but you always choose to remain invisible unless you're begging politicians for public funding. And then you're out in front in Las Vegas. Okay. So let me just deal with this.
Larry Beal,
Larry Beal,
Hall
nice.
of Fame broadcaster, telling it like it is. That was awesome.
I loved it. I love it because I love that he said, hey, here's the version of reality there. And it's a tough one, man. This is Oakland fans are packing it up, and they can pretend like they want to maybe stay A's fans when they're in Vegas, but yeah, right. I mean, the reality is that's a bad one right there.
It's too bad because that's a proud franchise. It's had a lot of great moments, and to be led by
an incompetent penny pincher?
Somebody who shouldn't be leading?
Oh, no, I love
That's
it.
extremely frustrating.
Well, look at one of the greatest movies of all time. I mean, is on that great story, Moneyball. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yes.
I love it. It's a great.
Right.
And they were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
All pre-John Fisher, by the way.
Right.
Oh, my gosh. Serial penny pincher. That's what I'm going to start calling you, JJ.
You know who on your station is a serial penny pincher?
Hansels.
Yeah, I know. That's accurate.
I think
You're
that's
a
the new
serial
nickname.
penny pincher.
That's Hans's new nickname.
You know
guys.
what? Do it.
He's at practice right now, probably, so he can't hear us. But
serial penny pincher.
I got to text him after the show.
You
and
should.
Just
We got a new
Call
nickname
him a
for it.
serial penny pincher.
Serial penny pincher.
I like it.
All right, Tim. Final time here. You said it.
Look,
Love it. We're trying to help people understand. One, this is a company that's been around a long time. It'll be around a long time. It's been helping Utahns for decades, and that's what you guys are going to continue to do. If it's soffit fascia, if it's the hardy siding on the house, if it's the gutters, if it's the gutters covers, if it is the heat tape on the house, they want to be able to make your house, the outside of your home, functional, beautiful, and have it working for you. So is that about right? Is that about wrapped up?
You
in one?
absolutely nailed it. And I think what you said, JJ, right before, look, we're not going to be like the Oakland A's owners. We're going to take care of our customers, and we're going to treat them right, and then they're going to come back because of it.
Come on, let's do it. 801-280-3110. That's 801-280-3110. Thanks for hosting us today, Tim. We appreciate it.
Tim was a blast.
Love having you guys here. We appreciate it and love the relationship. And let's just all have an amazing week and a great weekend of football.
Let's all have some fun football weekends.
Football weekend is a good weekend.
All right. We'll take the break here. We'll come back. We got more to go right around the corner. Stay with us, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Want to get the latest info on Utah's newest sports franchise?